This is Daily Armenia, CivilNet's daily news digest. Here's what's making headlines in Armenia today. Armenian Foreign Minister Ararat Mirzoyan paid a visit to Moscow today, where he held talks with his Russian counterpart Sergey Lavrov, followed by a joint press conference. Mirzoyan described the meeting as sincere and constructive, focusing on bilateral relations and regional stability. He emphasized Armenia's commitment to achieving lasting peace in the South Caucasus, despite ongoing challenges. Lavrov reiterated Russia's support for strengthening ties and announced plans for future high-level visits between the two countries. He, however, warned nations located far from the South Caucasus against intervening in the region's affairs. Lavrov added that Russia will continue working toward helping Armenia and Azerbaijan on their normalization track. Mirzoyan highlighted the importance of fostering a balanced media environment, likely referring to a recent incident where the Russian ambassador was summoned by Armenia's foreign ministry after statements threatening Armenian sovereignty were voiced on Russian state TV. Announcing Mirzoyan's visit last week, Lavrov referred to his country's current relations with Armenia as uneasy. This came days after Armenia's government pre-approved a bill that might potentially see Armenia submit a bid to join the European Union. The bid will now be considered in Parliament and, if accepted, will initiate a nationwide referendum on the matter. Yesterday, Donald Trump was inaugurated as U.S. President and the Senate confirmed Marco Rubio as his Secretary of State. Rubio replaces Antony Blinken, who just last week signed off on a U.S.-Armenia strategic partnership. Mirzoyan wished his new American counterpart well in a post today on the social platform X. Warm congratulations to Marco Rubio on his appointment as Secretary of State. Armenia greatly appreciates its strategic partnership with the United States, rooted in shared values and common interests. We eagerly anticipate strengthening our cooperation to promote security, democracy, and prosperity for both our nations, Mirzoyan wrote. Rubio has been a consistent supporter of Armenian issues as a senator in recent years. In the last Congress, Rubio spearheaded the Armenian Protection Act of 2023, which aimed to protect and provide humanitarian assistance to the Armenians who had been ethnically cleansed by Azerbaijan's offensive against Nagorno-Karabakh. It passed the Senate unanimously, but was never considered by the House and so did not become law. Trump used the issue to attack his opponent, Vice President Kamala Harris, during last fall's election, blaming her for doing nothing to stop the ethnic cleansing a year earlier, and pledging, "When I am president, I will protect persecuted Christians. I will work to stop the violence and ethnic cleansing, and we will restore peace between Armenia and Azerbaijan." Armenians hope Rubio's influential position could lead to deeper U.S. support for Armenia. However, Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev has hailed Trump's election as being good for his country instead. The first Trump administration was not supportive of Armenian issues, taking actions such as using his influence in the Senate to reject attempts to recognize the genocide of 1915, increasing military aid to Azerbaijan, and doing little to stop the 44-day Nagorno-Karabakh war. Thus, it remains to be seen whether there will be any change in those policies. Speaking of U.S. policy, read our article about what the newly signed Charter on Strategic Partnership means for Armenia's energy future. The agreement outlines plans to diversify energy sources, increase the use of renewables, and develop a civil nuclear power program. These steps could reduce Armenia's dependence on Russian energy and strengthen its long-term energy security. The article is available at the link in the video description. And finally, the CivilNet number of the day is 22. That's because the European Union mission in Armenia recently hosted ambassadors from 22 EU nations to give them an overview of the latest developments on their operations, mandate, and plans. The mission is up for a 2-year renewal next month, while it comes under verbal attack from Azerbaijan, which has made disbanding the mission a prerequisite for a normalization deal with Armenia. Armenia, on the other hand, supports the mission and credits it with the almost complete lack of ceasefire violations on the border since it began. And as always, please follow CivilNet for the latest news and independent reporting from our contributors on the ground here in Armenia.